The rain hammered down like accusations I couldn't escape. I stood on the front porch, my suitcase soaked through, water streaming down my face, mixing with hot tears. "You ruined this family, Emma." Karen, my stepmother, screamed from the doorway, her voice sharp as broken glass. "Ever since you came home from college, it's been nothing but fights and stress. Your father had a heart scare because of you and your constant demands." I begged, my voice cracking. "Please, Mom, Karen, I didn't mean to. I can help with the bills. Let me talk to Dad." But Dad just stood behind her, eyes on the floor, silent as always. She shoved my last bag out. "Get out. You're 21 now. Time you learned the world doesn't revolve around you." The door slammed. The lock clicked. I was alone. 21 years old. No job that paid enough. Phone battery at 12%. And nowhere to go. The cold seeped into my bones as I dragged the suitcase down the street. Streetlights blurred through the rain. I found a bus shelter. Curled up on the bench, shivering. That night, the wind howled like my breaking heart. How did it come to this? One moment I was trying to help with the bills after college. The next I was labeled the family destroyer. The rain never stopped, and neither did the ache in my chest. Every drop felt like a reminder of the home I no longer had. The warmth replaced by this endless chill that made my teeth chatter and my fingers numb. The next days blurred into a nightmare of survival. Shelters were full or dangerous one night. A man followed me until I hid in an alley. Heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst. I ate from dumpsters behind stores, the stench of rotting food mixing with my own unwashed clothes. Day labor washing dishes left my hands raw and blistered, earning just enough for a cheap bus ticket or a single meal. My friends were too far or too busy with their own lives. Messages to Dad went unanswered. Karen had blocked me everywhere. I slept under bridges some nights, the concrete hard against my back, rats scurrying nearby, and the fear of what might happen next, keeping me awake until dawn. Despair wrapped around me tighter each night, whispering that this was my new forever. I scrolled endlessly on my cracked phone, looking for any cheap room. Then I saw it. Abandoned Victorian house for sale, $1. Buyer must commit to living on site and renovating. It was in Willow Creek, a small town 3 hours away. Something tugged at me. The town name sounded familiar, like something Karen once mentioned in passing about her childhood. With my last $180 from odd jobs and a tiny bit from my late grandma's gift, I wired the dollar and fees. It was insane, but what choice did I have? The bus ride was long and quiet, the scenery blurring past as doubt gnawed at me. What if this was just another trap? When I arrived, the house stood at the end of an overgrown lane. Peeling paint, broken shutters, vines choking the porch like desperate fingers. Inside, the air was thick with mold and dust. Floorboards creaked under my feet. There was no electricity at first. I lit a candle, unrolled my sleeping bag on the dusty floor. This was my new home, or my grave. The musty smell clung to my clothes. The silence pressed on my ears, and every creak made me wonder if I had made the worst mistake of my life. But at least I had walls. At least I wasn't on the street anymore. I started working immediately. Days became a rhythm of sweat and tears. I scrubbed walls until my hands bled, patched holes with plastic and tape from the hardware store, using my last dollars. The smell of damp wood and old paper filled my nose. I hauled out piles of rotten furniture, my back aching from the weight, sweat mixing with tears as I cursed the house and my fate. At night, the house groaned with the wind, making me jump at every shadow. Was that a footstep upstairs? Just the old pipes, I told myself. But then came the whispers, faint scratching behind the walls, like nails on wood, keeping me awake for hours. I'd lie there, flashlight in hand, breathing shallow, wondering if the house itself was alive and angry at my intrusion. On the third day, while prying up a loose floorboard in the master bedroom to check for rot, my hammer hit something metal. A small, locked tin box. Inside was a leather-bound diary, pages yellowed, handwriting I knew too well, the elegant loops of Karen's script. My heart pounded. Why was my stepmother's diary hidden here, in this forgotten house? I sat on the floor, candle flickering, and began to read. Early entries from 15 years ago. Karen as a struggling young woman in this very house. Poor family. Dreaming of better life. She met my dad at a work event, married him quickly. The girl Emma looks so much like her mother. It hurts sometimes, she wrote. Resentment mixed with moments of tenderness I never saw. As weeks passed in the house, I fixed more. Cleared the yard with a rusty rake, until blisters covered my palms, got electricity hooked up after begging the utility company for a payment plan. The diary became my companion through the lonely evenings. I read by lamplight after hard days of scraping paint and hauling debris to the curb. Entries grew darker, money troubles, Dad's hidden gambling. I have to protect the family. Emma can't know. The more I read, the more questions swirled. Why here? Why me? One stormy night, the scratching returned louder, and I found an old photo slipped between pages me as a toddler, held by a woman who wasn't Karen. Then came the entries that shattered everything. Dated just months ago. I accused Emma of ruining us today. It was a lie, but I had no choice. Robert is deep in debt. Creditors threatening. He wants to sell everything, even take from Emma's trust. I screamed at her to make her leave, to push her away before they come for her too. My hands shook. All those accusations? Fabricated? The final pages held the devastating twist. Karen confessed. Emma isn't just my stepdaughter. She's my niece, my sister, Lily's daughter. Lily didn't die in that car crash. She ran away when Emma was 2, leaving her with Robert. But Lily left this house and a trust fund in Emma's name, hidden so Robert wouldn't take it. I married him to watch over Emma, to keep the secret safe. I hid the papers here. I sold this house for $1 anonymously, hoping fate or desperation would lead Emma here when she turned 21. Forgive me, Emma. I ruined our relationship to save your future. Part 1. Howby. Emma, tucked in the back. Property deed and bank info in my name. Thousands set aside. The house was mine by right all along. I collapsed, sobbing for what felt like hours. The candle burning low as the truth crashed over me like another storm. All the pain, the cold nights, the betrayal, it was twisted love. The wind outside seemed to whisper questions I couldn't answer. Why didn't she just tell me? Why the pain? But in that moment, reading her trembling final words, something inside me cracked open, not just anger, but a strange, aching understanding that made my chest tight with both grief and relief. I called Karen the next day. Her voice cracked with tears. She was ill, fighting her own battles, and the weight of years of silence finally broke her too. We talked for hours, real talk for the first time, voices trembling as we pieced together the fragments. I didn't fully forgive yet, but understanding bloomed like the first flowers I planted in the cleared yard. With the money, I fixed the house properly. New roof that no longer leaked during rain, warm lights that chased away the shadows, garden blooming with roses that reminded me of my real mother's old photos. Now, as I sit on the repaired porch watching the sunset, the same rain that once broke me now feels cleansing, tapping gently on the new gutters, like a soft apology. I was kicked out, accused, left to the streets with nothing but despair. But in this abandoned house, I found truth, inheritance, and a piece of my real mother waiting in those yellowed pages. Family isn't always blood or perfect. Sometimes it's the painful choices made in the dark, the secrets kept out of love, even when they cut deepest. I'm not ruined. I'm rebuilt. And for the first time, with the diary closed but its lessons open in my heart, I feel truly home, stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next. The road that led me here was long and cruel, but it brought me back to myself.